Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Blacksite Studio Terrain.
Hello everybody and welcome to the 2020 edition of Present Arms. Let me turn down volume here on my second monitor. Oops, wrong one. Sorry. Alright. Cool. Alright, I'm glad y'all could join us tonight. We begin our 13 days equals 13 hours. And you can see, well, a minute, I got ripped off here. Hold on a second. How did that happen? Hold on a second. Got to reset the clock because technically I'm taking time away from my time. I don't know how that happened. Let me take it. And come back here. And oop, too much. Yeah, we'll take that. All right. There we go. Now we've reset the clock. As you can see in the bottom right corner, the countdown timer has begun. 13 days to get to 13 hours. So obviously, as you may have guessed by now, we are going to be working on a project that will simulate the book movie 13 Hours, which is a Benghazi tell-all, if you will, or a recount of events of the fateful night of September 11, 2011 into September 12, 2011 in Benghazi, Libya. If you're not familiar with the movie, it's the events that take place overnight in 13 hours. And we are going to create a multifaceted game. Cheating with the time. Just remember that, Jim. Just remember that. So, we are doing something unique. Before I get all started here on what I'm working on. Sorry about the mess on here on the desk. It's been a lot of busy projects, 3D printing and stuff, and we'll get to those in a minute. But the background to this is we're going to create the race to the Ambassadors Complex, the GRS, that's the CIA Security Task Force, which consists of 5 to 6 guys, getting into the compound, trying to rescue the ambassador, and then the race back to the CIA annex. And we said, what, Jim? It's about a mile, 1.2 miles between the two compounds. So the question became, how do we game that? So, the question I have, or the answer I have for that is, Jim, well, you'll find out more about it when you listen to this weekend's podcast. This will be episode 1 of season 4, or series 4. You know, to pay respect to our friends over in Europe and the UK who go by series versus seasons. We talk extensively about the planning and design of this whole project. But to give you a quick synopsis, we are going to have Jim create a game. He's calling it a transit game. Am I getting that correct? A transit game which will take us from the annex to the compound, and we're doing that almost like we're kind of basically Jim's creating his own game. Essentially, is what we decided. We talked about Valor and Victory. We talked about lock and load system that we used in Day of Heroes that Gaz and I played. So I think pretty much what we've come up with is this game where you're going to have two vehicles, because in the story there are two GRS vehicles racing to the compound, and then so they're going to have to dodge down the streets of Benghazi, the 1.2 miles to get to the compound. Now, in the story, or the events that actually happened, the compound was attacked. The State Department security task force, or security guys, were calling out for help because they knew that the GRS was just down the road. And depending on who you talk to, but based on this movie and this story, which is written from the angle of the GRS guys, that the station chief of the CIA at the Annex would not release them to go right away to help the ambassador. So basically by doing that, it delayed any possible rescue, and then we unfortunately know what happened, that the ambassador was killed during the events of that evening. Now, it doesn't appear, I don't think they ever really said, but it doesn't appear he was actually killed by gunfire, if you will, but maybe possibly by smoke inhalation or the fire that happened in the compound. But, could he have been saved if the GRS got there quicker? We don't know, but we're going to game it. So it's an amazing what if. So, was it 2012? I thought it was 2011. I'm not wearing my shirt. I thought it was 2011, Jim. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. So we are making this into 3 phases. First phase will be the race to the compound. The second phase will be the miniature aspect of the game, which is what Gaz and I and Marty and Chris are going to work with, and you'll be introduced to Marty and Chris on the podcast this weekend. We are going to create the compound, the ambassador's compound. And what I have here in this handy dandy little box, you can see the tape right there. See the tape? Sarissa Precision. This is the ambassador's compound that they had up for sale. So we'll be putting that together during one of our live streams as well, in our 13 days to 13 hours. Now, let me explain the rules. Here are the rules. The rules are we have 13 days to create, paint, finish the game. So by the end of day 13, we need to be playing all 3 phases. Now, it's not consecutive days, and that's why we have the timer. So anytime we broadcast anything in the stream, we'll continue the timer. So the timer will stop when I do stop. If I'm not working on the project, the timer stops. If I happen to do some off-camera work, or if Jim does off-camera work, we will account for that time and adjust the time clock, the countdown timer you see there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, accordingly. So, by that, by the end of 13 days, Jim counted out how many hours it was. I'll let him speak to that, but it'll be at the end of 13 days, we'll have created a tabletop game. We'll have completed painting the miniatures. We'll have completed this tabletop scenery for the compound and be ready to play. So, what are we playing? Well, we already talked about Jim's portion of it. The next part of it is we are going to... What rule set are we going to use for miniatures? Well, we'll talk about this again in the podcast. You'll find the podcast really good this time. It was almost 2 hours worth of podcast, I think. So it is going to be a long show. So, if you have to break it up over a couple days while you're painting or whatever, please do so. But I think you're going to enjoy it immensely. Let me see where I'm at here. I'm just trying to figure out my spots for my camera. Right yonder. I really need to clean off my desk. Yeah, we'll use that can as a point. So, so the question is, I lost my. What rule set were we planning on using for the miniature aspect? Well, we talk about Spectre operations. We talk about contact front. We talk about skirmishing. And I think the consensus was, and again, we'll go into detail on it as to why we picked it. We're going to go with skirmishing. We think it gives us a little bit more flexibility for what kind of thing we're trying to do. Obviously, we're going to have to tweak it a little bit to meet our needs in this category. Then we talked about how many bad guys we need to make. And I think part of that will be our bad guys. We're going to paint up about 50 to 60 bad guys. I think from the count I currently have almost 30 guys already that I just had on the shelves that we're going to paint up. So I'll be getting some more, and we'll mix them up. So I think Gaz got some. I can't remember what Gaz got. I know he ordered some, and they just came in for him today. So we will have 50 to 60 guys ready to rock and roll. We're going to kind of put a scale ratio of, what did we say, 3 guys to 1 figure for the bad guys, which seems about right, because we're only going to have 6 operators, 5 to 6 operators, GRS guys. So, and we want to keep that action going in that compound, because remember, the compound action, what did we say it took? Roughly 35 minutes, 40 minutes, based on the timeline that we looked up. We've been doing a lot of research. Again, you're going to hear all this stuff in the podcast. Trust me, you're going to want to hear this podcast. It's a good one. It is a really, really good one. So we talk about that. We talk about Patreon subscribers and what they get, and all kinds of good stuff. And I have an exciting announcement. Today, Spectre had posted that they have a new starter set. Includes the new edition rulebook and 2 starter factions. One is the Spetsnaz, and the other one is Devgru, I think it is. Is it Devgru? I can't remember off the top of my head. But regardless, we got our hands on a starter set, and we're going to give it away in a contest here in the near future. So somebody out there is going to win a starter set from Spectre Miniatures. So stay tuned for more details in an upcoming episode of the podcast as we dive deeper into that. So tonight, what we're going to look at is Spectre Miniatures. I have in front of me some Task Force guys. These are I'm looking for one of the boxes with labels. I've already taken pretty much Task Force Operators. So obviously these are not Task Force Operators. These are bad guys that I still got to paint. We painted up quite a few bad guys already. Here is one I will show you. These are Spectre Miniatures. These are Menaforces. And we used contrast paints from Citadel. The GW paints, and I think they came out pretty good. So pretty nice minis. Obviously, we'll not be using the Afghanis because they won't fit, but we'll be using as many of these guys as we can. All right. So let's talk about. If it was not for the 30 plus pirates, I have to paint prior to Adepticon. What? Are you doing Blood and Plunder, Rasmus? Okay, so let's take a look. I wish I could get this light to just be a little bit more brighter here for you guys. I got a new work light. Just got to get a new mounting system for it. But Marty, again, we'll introduce him more in Saturday's show. Marty, you didn't take off some flash here, buddy. Let me remove that. Okay, there we go. I dropped him. All right, so, and I dropped him again. This is one of Marty's operators he painted up. It looks pretty good. He's doing a really nice work. He's just really getting into the hobby. So, not bad. Not bad work at all. And this is one of his other ones. Right here. If you can see that. Looks pretty good. So the question is, once we get the miniatures painted up, we're going to decide which ones look the best for our scenario and go from there. So those are two of the task force guys. And then I've got a whole bunch of unpainted guys here that we got in for this. I ordered these specifically for this project. I've always wanted to get some. I actually just ordered... I think I just ordered some more stuff, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look to see what I ordered. But I have stuff coming. So we have all these operators right here, and we only need technically 6 of them. Did I order more than this? I might have actually. I ordered the entire lineup of the task force operators. That guy's got a little bit of flash on his base. Let me just check the boxes real quick, just to make sure I have no others. Oops, I have more. These are empty. So we got plenty of operators to work with. Ooh, goody, goody, goody. So a lot of these guys have helmets with some camo netting and stuff on them, and obviously NVGs. Now the guys were wearing their helmets. If you watched a movie, they were wearing their helmets. So I got a nice selection to work with here. Ooh, his barrel's really bent. Really, really bent. Okay. The nice thing is, we kind of discussed it in the podcast, is the type of weapons the bad guys were using in the run-up to the Ambassador's compound. And they really didn't have heavy weapons. I think they had a douche at one point you see on a technical, or some kind of heavy weapon. I don't know if it was actually a douche, but I think it might have been. Oh, there's more in this box. So I should save this boxes because I have to send out, as part of the Patreon subscriber package, a mini. Custom minis. We'll talk about those in a second too. That's barrels. I gotta be careful. I can feel the white metal cracking. Like if the mix is a little bit off and there's some zinc or something in there. Those are sharpshooters, it looks like. Yeah, marksman, I think they call them. What do they call them? Nope, they don't have it on the box. Well, there's my collection. I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 operators. So you think that'll do us? So we're going to pick 6 of those guys and paint them up. Yes, we will. We already got 2 from Marty painted up, so I'll paint up some more. But let me see if I can zoom in a little better for you guys. I'm going to zoom in. Bear with me a moment. Oops, wrong way. Wrong way. Right there. Okay. Let me know if that's in focus. It's hard to tell from my end. But, we got a guy with a 2 of 3. Now, in the movie, the guy had the separate grenade launcher. It was separate from his weapon. So, something to keep in mind. There's guys, looks like he's on a radio or something. Another combatant. Rifleman. Looks like a saw. They did have one of those in there. Here's a guy on a cell phone or radio or something. More riflemen. Another saw. I don't know if you're seeing that. And another one looks like he's got a grenade launcher or something underneath. And another rifleman in a tactical pose. marksman, another rifleman, marksman, and a marksman. So, question is, what are we going to do with them, right? Yeah, I was going to ask. Let me see. I'm going to catch up on things real high. Yeah, I was going to ask, since these were technically PMCs, I'll be drawing my E-playing pieces based on your painting, so the whole game series will drive together. Little parasol. Oh, wait a minute, Jim. Are you giving me the pressure of I have to paint these up and you're going to color cord the playing pieces to match the guys? Oi. Oi. Ugh. That's crazy. That is crazy. So, okay. I'll have to keep that in mind. Keep the color simple. All right. Now remember, in the show, they're pretty much wearing civilian clothes. So, some guys are wearing blue jeans. I think somebody's wearing like 511 tactical pants. So like these guys here, these could be 511 tacticals. So here's two guys wearing greens. Okay. So now I got to make some civilians, right? Thanks, Rasmus, for your support. Yes, the joy of collaborating. So let me show you something else. This right here. Here, let me clean out my Pile OLED. Cleaning out the Pile OLED. This right here, my friends. Look, I got to back out a little bit. Bear with me. Nope, that's the wrong way. There we go. Right here, this is the custom mini that I designed on Hero Forge and printed on our in-studio resin printer. We are using a Photon, Anycubic Photon printer, and these are printed in resin. It's a roughly is it a 28 mil? It's not really 28 mil. I think it's 32 really. It's a little bit. It's heroic scale. We decided heroic scale was the best option there. So everybody who is a backer on our Patreon page will be receiving a mini. And if you're at our team supporter level, which I think is $5 a month, you'll receive a mini. You'll receive a shot glass, the official Jim Oriskany drinking game shot glass, long story short. And if you're at our top level, the first sergeant producer level, you'll receive the mini. You'll receive the shot glass. And you'll receive a custom embroidered Sit Rep Podcast dice bag from Cozy Dice. How about that for a nice little thank you for supporting the podcast? We're very excited and looking forward to a great 2020. So, all right. That's that. Let's get him off the stand there. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum. Thank you very much. Okay, so I just kicked the camera. I apologize immensely. All right. So the first thing I do is kind of decide what minis we're going to use. The important thing is, and I need to borrow, I'm going to use my tablet here, so I can do comments here, right? Twitch comments. Blah, bloom, bloom. They should come up here. It says we're connected, so they should be coming up. Let me check other stations, YouTube, see if anybody's on YouTube. I got to see how I can get Facebook comments to show up on my app, Let me go back to, all right. Okay, let me, I just want to do a quick check of research here. Okay. Stop it! Stop it! Search. Oh, I hate this keyboard. 13. Yes, I had the movie. It's in my Prime, but I need the info. So 13 hours. Enter. Search. 13 hours coming. Oh, I have Bing on this thing? I don't like Bing. I like Google. That's all right. 13 hours. Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Let's look under Wikipedia, because that'll... I know Wikipedia is not a viable resource, and Jim's probably rolling his eyes right now at me. Excellent. Calling his mini serious. All right. All right. The plot. I want the actual names. Okay, so this I didn't realize there was even that many diplomatic security agents from the State Department. There was 5, which is but the 2 main guys were Scott Wickland and Dave Ubben. Yeah, 2012. I don't know why I had 2011 in my head. I should always trust Jim. Jim's never wrong. Now I put the pressure back on him. They only get help from Doherty, a GRS officer in Tripoli who forms a team including 2 Delta operators that fly to Benghazi. Yep, that was afterwards. All right, so we have the GRS team is Tyrone Woods, or Roan Woods. He was a former Navy SEAL. You have Jack Silva. He was a former Navy SEAL. You have Mark Oz Geist. He was a former Marine. Yeah, we won't hold that against him. We have John Tig Teagan. He was a former Marine. God, they're all over the place. You have Chris Tonto Parento. He was a former Army Ranger. You have Dave Boone Benton. He's a former Marine Scout Sniper. Dang it, they're everywhere. It's like a plague. And then you have Glenn Bub Doherty, who was in Tripoli, who flew in with 2 Delta guys. So you technically had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that came in as your guys, okay? And then Toby was Doherty, which he won't come into play in this scenario because he doesn't show up until they're already back at the complex, at the annex, I mean. CIA, doesn't matter. We won't play them, don't matter. Okay, so then we go to the State Department. So you have the Ambassador Stevens. You have Scott Wickland, Dave Ubben, Alec, who is another DSS agent, and somebody else. I'm looking at, unfortunately, I need to find the real events. Let's see if I can get... no, that's not the right one. I know Gaz, I think, sent you a lot of good stuff as well, right? I'm trying to find the actual write-up, but that'll give us, so we know right now I have to create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys. All right, 6 guys. Whew, 6 guys. Can do. Let's see what stuff I'm getting. Let's see. Fred needs to start smoking, I guess. Fred needs to start smoking. Wikipedia has gotten better. It's also used for fast, high-level knowledge. Also a good place to look for good sources. Former Marine won't hold it against him. And so it begins. Love it. Okay. So, I need 6 candidates. Well, Marty has a couple already painted up. We know we need a marksman, a long gun. Ooh, this guy's got a baseball hat on. I kind of like that. Just for something different. And then I have this guy with the long gun. I know we had 2 snipers in it. Yeah. Okay, so another Marine, they're everywhere like a plague. Yes, we travel in packs. As soon as you throw the first punch, check your 6. There are at least 2 more coming at you. This is very true. I will agree 100% with that. So for sake, as much as I like the baseball hat guy, they were pretty much wearing their tactical gear. So we'll probably go with this guy and this guy as our two marksmen. Man, I really like this guy. That's all right. Okay, so here's our two marksmen. And then we need Roan, who was the leader. Well, we know we need a 249, so... Oh, you don't belong in there, my friend. That's TTS, right? Total Tactical Simulations. Let's see. Who do I want to use as Roan? Use this guy as Roan? Decisions. I think we'll use him as Roan. 249. All right, so let me see who I got here. Ba-ba-ba-bum. Doop-a-doom. Okay. No kidding. Roan was also a nurse and a paramedic, serving at the Naval Medical Center at San Diego. Huh. A year after his retirement, he owned the Salty Frog Bar in Imperial Beach, California. Wow. Isn't that something? What you learn about these people? Sorry guys, I'm wandering off. Okay, so we know we had a 249 in the bunch. We had a couple marksmen. We have Roan. We need a couple other guys. I like the tactical pose there. And those look pretty similar, don't they? I want to kind of make them stand out a little bit. I don't think anybody had a grenade launcher. I know they had a single. We'll use this one too, I guess. I don't know. I don't like how he's bent over like that, though. 249. Well, I got these two guys. So Roan was the leader. Yes, he was. He's the leader of the GRS. You know what? We'll go with Marty's guy here. I mean, this guy could be Roan here. I don't know if you can see this. Sorry, I'm going off screen here. Let me switch over to the wide camera here. If I can find it. Wide angle. There we go. And transition. There we go. All right, so this looks like our team options here. We could use this guy as Roan, or we could use this guy as Roan. Right here. Let me switch back to the other camera here. So which do you think? Go with this guy or this guy? Let me switch back to chat so I can see what's going on. So Roan was leader, a 249, 2 marksmen, 2 riflemen, 1 with a... That's 6. Where's the interpreter as well, or is he one of the combatants? No, the interpreter was not a combatant. He was separate, so I'll have to paint up an interpreter. I might actually have another one from dum bum bum. Full battle rattle. Alex, or I could pull my interpreter. I think I might do that. I already have one painted up that I'll pull my interpreter from full battle rattle. So let's see, Rasmus. Gee, I told you a fib. My father-in-law was in the 82nd, yet not in the 82nd. He was the 50th signal. He was the 50th signal. I told you my father was in the 82nd, yet not in the 82nd. He was in the 50th single. Was he attached to the 82nd then at some point? So, what do you guys think? Do we go with this guy here as Roan, the leader? Or do we go with this guy as the leader? Which pose do you like better? Nope. You ask all the questions you need there, Mr. Jim. So we'll use this guy as one of our guys. Marty did a really nice job painting him up. We'll go with that guy. We're definitely going to go with this marksman, our 249, and our other guy. And I will identify each character once we get our guys picked. He did spend full time attached to the 82nd. Cool. Hey, did he jump out of airplanes? That's the most important question. Was he an actual paratrooper, or was he a dirty, nasty leg? For you non-military types, or who are not familiar with that lingo, a dirty, nasty leg is somebody who did not jump out of airplanes. So there was an old joke when I first got to Division back in the mid-'80s. That's kind of when air assault was becoming its own thing. We had this joke that we called air assault dope on a rope, and I think they still do. So, if you got your air assault badge, we called it dope on a rope. And essentially, air assault school, everybody in the Army is air assault, essentially. Obviously, outside of armor. If you can be thrown on a helicopter, and fly, or sling load, you're essentially air assault. But they obviously they refined it. I don't want to offend anybody. My son was the 101st Airborne, or the Screaming Chickens, as we like to call it. So, he's got his air assault badge. My nephew, I think, has got his air assault badge. I think Marty has his air assault badge. But it's not the same as throwing yourself out of an airplane at 800 feet in complete darkness, wearing about 125 to 150 pounds of gear. Not the same. And honestly, in air assault, you're not going behind the enemy lines. Not like the paratroopers. I don't care what they say. Those Blackhawks only fly about 250 miles. So, whereas a C-130 could put us way, way deep into behind the enemy lines, and then we find us, essentially a bridgehead, and we hold it, and we wait until we're relieved, and we create all kinds of havoc in the background. All right, here we go. Okay, so we have this guy, and he is going to be one of my guys. Oh, I'm pulling up the list again. Oh, come on. No, I don't want to speak Klingon. I hate... The tablet I use is an Alexa tablet. Come on! So, goodness. So I'm trying to get the... Oh, screw it. Anyway, alright. So, we gotta have Oz, we gotta have Roan, we gotta have Tonto. What do you think? You like the radio poses for Roan? Okay. Rasmus has spoken. Here is Roan. Alright, so this is our team right here. So for the interpreter, and I can't remember the interpreter's name, I'll look it up, but I will use the one I've already painted up. For from Full Battle Rattle miniatures, which are really nice miniatures from our friend Alex. So, yeah, there's your team, folks. There is your team. Those 6 men are going to try and change history. Can they make it to the compound all in one piece? Can they make it in time? Can they find the ambassador and save him? Or will he meet the fate he met in real life? Dun, dun, dun. Excitement at its finest. How are we doing on timer there? Okay. Why can't I get this to work? Get out. Get out. Okay, I'll go back. All right, so I got to do a little cleanup here on these guys. So these are Spectre miniatures. I guess we should do our review. So these are Spectre miniatures. These are task force operators. I got a whole nother box from Spectre here. Which ones are these? Some of the these are Rangers. No, we don't want to use these for this. These are all my Rangers, U.S. Rangers. Okay. So these are our team right here, Spectre miniatures. Let's take a look at them, shall we? I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can get a better look. Yeah, other way. And I need to set the zoom, so bear with me a minute, guys. You're going to see some behind the scenes stuff. Zoom, focus. We're just going to leave it auto because that'll help here. Okay. All right. So let's talk about detail, shall we? See if we can get this guy here. Gotta make sure it focuses in. So detail. White metal miniatures, obviously. Sculpted by Steven, who uses multiple sources. Obviously, Matt gives him a lot of background on these guys. They've got M4s, tactical body armor. They've got the fast helmets. They have nods, or night vision goggles, NVGs. We call them nods some places. So pretty good detail. Let's see if I can find a different company, just as an example. Well, I can use this one. This is Tabletop Tactical. Is it Tabletop Tactical Simulations (TTS)? It's an offshoot of Miniature Building Authority. This is their guy. This is a modern trooper. You can see he's a little bit smaller scale. He's supposed to be 28 mil. He actually looks 20 mil. Doesn't he look 20 mil? Kind of looks 20 mil. So, yeah. Kind of what it looks like to me. Anyway, so really nice detail. I don't think I have any other company up here. Well, I've got... Oh, there's another one of my bad guys. I've got... well, these are... It's kind of not a fair comparison, but this is from White Dragon Miniatures, Courage and Contact, the Afghanistan collection. Let me get it in here for you so you can see it. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to look behind me. Come on. Don't be silly. All right. There he is. I painted those up using contrast paints. I like the contrast paints. I really do. So, yeah, I don't know what you guys think of them. But, so, Spectre Miniatures, nice and clean. There's a little flash here and there that's expected. You know, nothing terrible. I'll have to use these because I don't know where to put my hobby knife. Careful I don't clip off the mount for the NVGs. Okay. Arms look pretty clean. I don't see a lot as far as mold lines. There's a little bit here. You can see it a little bit. Light scrape with the hobby knife should clarify, take care of that. So, yeah. So we'll get those painted up. Jim, I will send you pictures of these when I get them painted. I'm going to do I have an empty plug right now? Without unplugging something, I don't know what I'm unplugging. That's the problem. I got so much stuff plugged in right now. So, speaking of Rasmus talking about Adepticon. Oh, come on now. Marty did a pretty good job. I'm looking at it on camera. It looks good. Spectre Miniatures is having another thing at Adepticon this year. Somebody's hosting that. I don't know if Spectre's going to be there this year. I'm hoping they are. I would like to do another chat like we had last time. The roundtable discussion. I thought we had a really good time. We had pizza and drinks and had a good chat, and I really like to do that again with everybody. I don't know if those of you who caught that or not last year, but it was a live stream chat, and you guys could be part of the conversation. We had people sending messages, and we answered your questions live on air. Rasmus actually joined us at Adepticon last year and hung out with us, which we really like having everybody there. So, Rasmus shared a few beers with us, and, we had a nice chat and had a really great time, and we had a nice full table. Kirk was there, and Chris was there, and Matt, and Jess, and Steven, and Alex, and we had a full room. It was a great. If you have not seen it, you can still see last year's episode. If you go to ontabletop.com, Beast of War, and you pull up Adepticon 2019, and you look for the live stream, it should be on day 3, right? Day 3? Saturday night is when we did it, and we had a really good conversation about modern warfare gaming and the industry as a whole. So, a really great insight into that. So, all right. So here we are, counting down the time. So we are into almost 45 minutes of this first hour into our 13-day countdown. And what have we accomplished so far? We picked our team. We've picked our team. Okay. I know I've been kind of chatty tonight, but I'm going to get these guys primed up, because I got to get them glued to a base, so I can prime them. And then on the next episode, we will, what was I going to say? We will start painting them up. So just remember, the way this works, the rules of this event is, anytime we work on a project, we count down. Oh, thanks, Jim. Jim put up the link for the roundtable, and I'll make sure we get that link out to other people as well. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. So I'm going to work on these guys. Jim, what do you have coming up for Sunday? I know you're doing HK Ops, which will be awesome. You get your team back together. And then you said you were going to do a little bit of streaming, or is that changed because of your schedule? So we shall see. We shall see. All right, guys. Let me see. Oh, we were going to talk about the rule set. So we are going to use Skirmish Sangan. We are going to... You know what? I should paint these guys out. I hate just sitting here leaving you guys looking at plain minis, right? It's terrible. Just terrible. How could we do that to you, right? Yep, Jim's doing 2 streams. HK Ops, and I hope to do some groundwork for the 13 days project. I'm telling you guys, if you are interested in game creation at all, you have to check out Jim's streams. When he starts talking about how he's going to create this game, we are literally creating a game from the ground up just for this event. I mean, he'll probably borrow parts and pieces, from other systems and games, as we will do for the miniature side of it as well. But we are creating something unique just for this stream. So I'm excited for this, and I'm just totally excited. So I'm sitting here blabbering away. Let me look at these guys real quick. I'm going to grab my jeweler's glasses so I can look at them in more detail. Take off my reading glasses here. Sucks getting old. I got to take my mic off. Excuse me for a moment. Okay, I'm back. All right, let's look here. Make sure I don't have too much magnification on and I go cross-eyed. We need to clean this up right here. I don't know if you can see that. There's flashing right here. I want to bend the microscope. Microscope. Is it sealed to both? It might be. Okay. All right, that's better. Can you see that, guys? Okay. Yeah, looks like it. All right. Mold lines looks good. Oh, there's a mold line right there that needs to be cleaned up. Get that mold line in there. I've discovered over my painting, I don't want to call it career because that's not a career, but my painting hobby life, when you see some mold lines, you're like, oh, that's not that bad. It's not that bad. And then you paint, especially when you prime, and you're like, dang, where'd those come from? Right? He's got it on his elbow. So I've been buying hobby clippers off of Amazon. You get like 10 of them for like $10. Some ridiculous amount. I mean, they're not the greatest in the world, but they sure do the job you want them to do. I have a pair of GW clippers here somewhere. I just don't know where they're at, to be honest with you. We have stuff everywhere. If you've ever been to our house, you would understand. It's not that it's like a hoarder house and there's stuff laying everywhere, but we have so many different areas of putting hobby stuff. We still have the whole Beast of War studio downstairs in the basement. So, and we're going to be firing that studio up soon. Now that 2019 has come and kicked our butts. Dawn broke her arm over the Sunday night before Christmas. So she had to have surgery the Friday after New Year's. 2019 was not a kind year for us. A lot of stuff going on. So we're hoping that 2020 is a better year. That's all I got to say about that. Alright, let's catch up on some All Games Pro. Why reinvent the wheel? I did buy my hobby clippers in Microworld Computer Store. There you go. You know, it's amazing where you can find some of this stuff. It really is. Okay, Roan. We're gonna get you painted up nice. Probably do khaki pants on him. Yeah. We'll probably do khaki. He's got glasses on. I'm alright with those, actually. It was night, so they didn't really have glasses on. If I wanted to, I could probably shave it down. Create, just reshave them. But do I really want to do that? I don't know, do I? Well, too late now. He has glasses no more. As long as I didn't take his nose off. That's why you have extras. It's a nice thing about working with soft metal. You can take his glasses right off. Now he doesn't have glasses on anymore. Oh, it's a light. I'm like, what is that on the side of his helmet? It's a light. I like how they even molded in, designed in. I don't know if you guys can see it real well, but the battery packs for the nods, the NVGs. Yeah. I like that a lot. It's a nice little attention to detail there. It's got a little side mount. That could be the camera. And they didn't use them, but yeah, I like that a lot. All right, my friend. Is that a lens cap? It almost could be a lens cap, but it looks more like flashing. It's not perfectly round. So off it comes. Sorry. It just looked more like flashing than a lens cap. Could have been the lens cap, but it just didn't. He's got spectacles on too. Not anymore. I need a new blade. I don't want to damage these guys too much. Steven will kill me for defacing his guys. Okay. Yeah, it looks okay. All right. There is our team, our GRS operators. Wish our eyes could be fixed that easy. Isn't that the truth? Getting old sucks. All right, guys. So, how are we doing here? We are at 4 minutes to go. All right. And our first hour into 13 days will be up on Hobby. So, again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to prime these guys up. We'll get those started. I will prime, and they'll be ready for the next live stream next week. And Jim's going to live stream on Sunday. So he'll add to the countdown clock. And we will get these guys going. Make sure you pay attention for the podcast that'll go out to our Patreon backers. It'll go out tonight. Once I get off the stream here, I will jump on, finish the edit, and get it uploaded to our Patreon subscribers. So they'll have it here roughly half hour, 45 minutes-ish. And then we'll go from there. Yeah. And then for the rest of our peoples, our fans out there, it'll be out Saturday morning. And I tell you what, we have climbed nicely in subscribers on Patreon, Podbean, and YouTube and Facebook. You guys have really helped spread the word, and we hope you continue to do so and help support the channel as we grow, because we want to be able to bring you guys a members event, possibly at Historicon this year. We are definitely going to make it a priority to get to Historicon this year. Jim went last year, obviously, with the OTT team, and I am definitely going to put it on my calendar this year. We're going to get SitRep. Ralph is designing a new logo for us, so we can get some nice shirts made up and have some merch, new merch available as well. And we'll probably have some giveaways and things like that. And another exciting thing is we have been doing some talking with Patrick Keith. If you guys are familiar with anything in the miniatures world, Patrick Keith is a sculptor. He has his own company called Bombshell Miniatures, and he does a lot of sculpting for many different companies, including Reaper Miniatures and Paizo and just all kinds of companies. You will see he does work for a lot of different companies. He is agreed to make us a custom miniature. So it won't be just a click and paste one from like Hero Forge. This will be a completely designed from the ground up miniature that we'll be able to offer to our Patreon backers and sell to anybody interested in it. We might have a few on hand, hopefully, if we have it done in time for Historicon. I don't see it being done by Adepticon time, but maybe by Historicon we can have a few with us, and we might give one or two away while we're there, if you come up and say hello. So a lot of things in the works for 2020 for the SitRep podcast, and I am very excited. Our team has grown. We've got Gaz on board. Gaz is a good friend of ours who spent a week with us over Thanksgiving holiday, and he's on the show with us now. And Marty and Chris will be popping in. And again, like I said, we'll introduce you to them this weekend. They'll be helping with projects as well. And looking forward to the exciting year that we have coming up. And it's just going to be one of those great, great times for everybody. So, guys, I don't know what else to say, but man, it's going to be an awesome year, and this project is going to kick ass. So make sure you check out Sunday's stream. Jim, what time are you streaming at, do you think? Just so I can make sure we get it out there for you. And while we wait for his answer, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I know it's only an hour, but, it's one of those good ones. So noon on Sunday, Eastern Standard Time. So that's 5 o'clock BS Greenwich Mean Time, right? British Standard Time. So, guys, until the next time, we're now in our first hour is up into 13 days equals 13 hours. Take care. We will see you soon. And I look forward to where we go with this. And remember to check out our sponsors, Black Site Studio. As always, take care and have a great week.
Are you looking to become a Tier 1 operator in the gaming world? Elevate your games with Black Site Studio Terrain.